Good morning, student. Today we are going to know about glycolysis. So, first of all, glycolysis is nothing but a breakdown of glucose molecule into a pyruvate. Glyco means glucose molecule and lysis means breakdown. Here is the glucose molecule. For the breakdown of glucose molecule, there is a need of ATP. One by one, that glucose molecule get converted into a many more conversions, and at last it can be developed into a pyruvate. Then that pyruvate again converted into acetyl coenzyme, and again that can be transferred into a Krebs cycle. So this is the chain or cycles which are interconnected with each other. This type of a glucose breakdown can be done within eukaryotic as well as prokaryotic cell, and that is nothing but an aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. So first of all, glycolysis is the metabolic process that serves as a foundation for both aerobic and anaerobic cellular respiration. In glycolysis, glucose is converted into a pyruvate. Glucose is a six-membered ring molecule found in the blood and is usually a result of breakdown of carbohydrates into the sugar. So whatever carbohydrate we get intact as a food, that can be break down into a sugar, and sugar is nothing but an glucose. So it enters cell through a specific transporter proteins that move it from outside the cell into the cell cytosol. All of the glycolytic enzymes are found in the cytosol. The overall reaction of a glycolysis which occur in the cytoplasm is represented simply over here. So this is the chemical formula of a glucose, C6H12O6. This is the glucose molecule. Then for the conversion of a glucose molecule into a pyruvic acid, for that purpose here is the need of 2 NAD, 2 ADP and 2 molecules of inorganic phosphate. So with the help of all this raw material, glucose, 2 NAD, 2 ADP and 2 inorganic phosphate, all together develops into 2 pyruvic acid molecule. This is the pyruvic acid, and at last there is a development of 2 ATP, 2 NADH and 2 H positive ion. Here is the diagrammatic representation with structural formula of a glucose. That glucose molecule get converted into glucose 6-phosphate, then it again isomerase with the fructose 6-phosphate, then phosphokinase can converted them into fructose 1,6 biphosphate. That fructose 1,6 phosphate biphosphate converted into 2 different forms, that is a dihydroxyacetone phosphate which is a DHAP, and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, that is a GEP. And this GEP again get dehydrogenase and developed into 1,3-biphosphate glycerate, and later on that also get converted due to a phosphoglyceric kinase, that is 3-phosphoglycerate, and that 3-phosphoglycerate can mutase, or due to the enzyme mutase can develop into 2-phosphoglycerate. That 2-phosphoglycerate again converted by a enolase, that is phosphoenol pyruvate, and at last that phosphoenol pyruvate, due to the activity of pyruvate kinase, get converted into a 2 molecule of a pyruvate. So in this way the complete glycolysis is terminate into a development of pyruvate. So one by one we know about how they are get converted due to the enzymatic reactions. So first of all, first step is get controlled with the help of enzyme hexokinase. So the first step in the glycolysis is the conversion of a D-glucose into glucose 6-phosphate. For that purpose, here is the enzyme hexokinase with the magnesium which can control negative impacts. So this is the glucose molecule, these are the ATP molecule, and in the presence of hexokinase and magnesium ions, the glucose get converted into glucose 6-phosphate, and for that purpose over here one ATP get utilized, and that's why here is the addition of one phosphate group. So here is the addition of a phosphate. So what happened? The glucose ring is phosphorylated. What is meant by phosphorylated? The addition of a phosphate into a glucose ring. So this one is the glucose ring and this one is the glucose ring, and at here over there is a addition of a phosphate. So that is called as a phosphorylation. Phosphorylation is the process of adding a phosphate group into a molecule derived from ATP. So here is the utilization or use of ATP, which results into the one ATP molecule get consumed. The reaction occurs with the help of enzyme hexokinase, an enzyme that catalyzes phosphorylation of many 6-membered glucose rings, and atomic magnesium is also get involved in help for the controlling of negative shield charges for the phosphate group, and the result of this phosphorylation is a molecule called glucose 6-phosphate. Thus 6 carbon of the glucose acquires the phosphate group. So what is meant by that? Here is just a addition of a phosphate group, and that is nothing but a phosphorylation with the help of hexokinase. Then come toward the second phase, that is phosphoglucose isomerase. So what happened in this case? Glycolysis is the rearrangement of a glucose 6-phosphate into fructose 6-phosphate, which is the controlled by the enzyme glucose phosphate isomerase, that is phosphoglucose isomerase, the enzyme called as a phosphoglucose isomerase. The second step of a glycolysis involves the conversion of a glucose 6-phosphate to fructose 6-phosphate. This reaction occurs with the help of enzyme phosphoglucose isomerase. As the name of enzyme suggests, this reaction involves an isomerization reaction. So isomerase can isomerize that compound glucose 6-phosphate into a fructose 6-phosphate. So what happened? The reaction involves rearrangement of a carbon-oxygen bond to transfer the 6-membered ring into a 5-membered ring. So this glucose, which is a 6 carbon containing sugar, that get converted into 5 carbon containing sugar. So the rearrangement takes place when 6-membered ring opens and then close in such a way that the first carbon becomes now external to the ring. Means the 6 carbon are present in the glucose, but the 1 carbon get removed from that location and becomes a outsider carbon within this fructose structural formula. So here is the first carbon, this one is the second carbon, third, fourth, fifth, and the 6th carbon is also present over there, but it is not a part of a ring. So this is all about phosphoglucose isomerase, which can get converted glucose 6-phosphate into fructose 6-phosphate. Then come towards the third step, which is the phosphofructokinase enzyme combined with magnesium as a cofactor changes fructose 6-phosphate into fructose 1,6 biphosphate. So this one is the fructose 6-phosphate with the help of ATP and magnesium. The enzyme, that is phosphofructokinase, also accelerate the reaction, and at the third step fructose 6-phosphate is get converted to a fructose 1,6 biphosphate. So biphosphate means 2 phosphate molecules are get attached over here, and that's why it is called as a 1,6 biphosphate. For one, at the first carbon there is attachment of a phosphate within this step, and in last step the one inorganic phosphate get attached at the 6th carbon. So in this way this fructose is get converted into 1 and 6 phosphate molecule and called as a fructose 1,6 biphosphate. And at that time there is a utilization of a ATP and development of a 1H positive ion. The enzyme that catalyzes this reaction is phosphofructose kinase. As in step 1, magnesium atom is also get involved as a help shield negative charges. Then at the fourth step, the enzyme aldolase splits, means break down that fructose 1,6 biphosphate into 2 different sugars. So this one is the fructose 1,6 biphosphate. Due to the action of aldolase get converted into 2 different molecules, that is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate means GAP and dihydroxyacetone phosphate means DHAP. So these are the most important step of a glycolysis. So what happen in this? The 2 sugars are dihydroxyacetone phosphate DHAP and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate GAP. Utilize the enzyme aldolase, which catalyze the cleavage of fructose 1,6 biphosphate to yield 2 molecules or to produce 2 molecules of 3 carbon containing compound. So here is the first, second, third carbon, and here is the fourth, fifth, sixth carbon, which gets spilled due to the aldolase. One of these molecules is called glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate GAP, and other is called as dihydroxyacetone phosphate DHAP. These are again within a step 5th triphosphate isomerase rapidly interconverts the molecule dihydroxyacetone phosphate means a DHAP and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate GAP is removed and used in the next step of a glycolysis. So this DHAP get removed and again that can be added into the glycolysis. So the GAP is the only molecule, this GAP is the only that molecule which can continue in a glycolytic pathway. As a result, all of the DHAP molecule produced are further acted on by the enzyme triose phosphate isomerase, which can reorganize DHAP into GAP. So this DHAP again get reorganized into a GAP because due to the interconversion by the triose phosphate isomerase. At this point in the glycolytic pathway, we have two products which having 3 carbon molecules but have not yet fully converted glucose into a pyruvate, and for that purpose come towards the step number 6. So what happen in this? Glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase is an enzyme that can add an inorganic phosphate to the GAP, means glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, which get producing 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. So this is the GAP. This is the structural formula of a GAP. Again with the help of NAD, means nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, and inorganic phosphate that get added over here, and that's why there is a construction of a 1,3-biphosphoglycerate with the help of glyceraldehyde, and that's why the enzyme contains appropriate structure and holds the molecule in a conformation such that it allows the NAD molecule to pull a hydrogen of the GAP, which get interconverting NAD to NADH. The phosphate group then attacks the GAP molecule and release it from the enzyme to yield 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. So this is all about step 6, and come towards the 7th step. What happen in this? Phosphoglycerate kinase, which involves in this step, can transfer phosphate group from 1,3-biphosphoglycerate to ADP to form ATP and 3-phosphoglycerate. So this is all about this step. But what happen actually? 1,3-biphosphoglycerate is get converted to 3-phosphoglycerate, and the enzyme is the phosphoglycerate kinase with the help of magnesium. Since we actually have 2 molecules of 1,3-biphosphoglycerate, because of that 2 molecules of a 3 carbon containing compound are developed over here. We actually synthesize 2 molecules of ATP over here. At this step, with this synthesis of ATP, we have cancelled the first 2 molecules and of ATP that we used, leaving with a net of 0 ATP molecule up to this stage of a glycolysis. Means whatever the molecules are get utilized for the reaction purpose, that just molecules are developed over there, and the net content of that ATP molecules is a 0. Then again we see that an atom of a magnesium is involved as a negative shell charges on the phosphate group of the ATP molecule. And at the step 8, phosphoglycerate mutase can mutase 3-phosphoglycerate into 2-phosphoglycerate. So how it is? Here is the 3-phosphoglycerate, means the carbon first, second, third. The third carbon contain phosphate, inorganic phosphate, that can interconvert their positions from third carbon to the second carbon. So that there is an enzyme that is phosphoglycerate mutase can mutate the position of a phosphate from third location to the second carbon location. A mutase is an enzyme that catalyzes transfer of a functional group. So the phosphate is a functional group from one position to the another, and the reaction mechanism proceeds by first adding an additional phosphate group to the second position of the third phosphoglycerate. The enzyme then removes the phosphate from third position leaving just the second phosphate and thus yielding 2-phosphoglycerate. Means the 3-phosphoglycerate is get converted or yield or get produced as 2-phosphoglycerate just due to the presence of a functional group phosphate which get attached at the second carbon atom. It can be called as a 2-phosphoglycerate. Then at the second last step, that is enolysis. What happened due to the enolysis? Enolysis removes a molecule of a water from 2-phosphoglycerate. So this one is the 2-phosphoglycerate, and here is the enzyme enolysis which can remove water molecule. So how it is? Here is the OH and this one is the H. So this OH and this H is get removed over here as a water molecule. This step involves conversion of a phosphoglycerate to phosphoenol pyruvate PEP, and the reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme enolysis. Enolysis works by removing water group, or that is a dehydrating agent. The specificity of the enzyme pockets allows for the reaction to occur through a series of steps to complicated over here. And at last, the step 10th, pyruvate kinase is get developed. The enzyme pyruvate kinase can transfer phosphate from phosphoenol pyruvate, means PEP, to ADP to form pyruvic acid, and ATP result in step 10. The final step of a glycolysis convert phosphoenol pyruvate into pyruvate with the help of enzyme pyruvate kinase. The enzyme name suggests this reaction involves the transfer of a phosphate group. So how it is? This is the phosphoenol pyruvate at the second carbon atom. Here is the presence of a phosphate molecule which is a functional group. Here is the ADP and H positive ion, and this phosphate is get removed and that's why here is the development of a pyruvate, and at last within this step there is a development of a ATP molecule. So the phosphate group attached to the second carbon of a phosphoenol pyruvate, this is the phosphoenol pyruvate attached to the second carbon atom, get transferred due to the molecule of a ADP which can get converted into a ATP. So this phosphate is get attached to the ADP, and that's why there is a development of adenine triphosphate. So ADP is nothing but an adenine diphosphate. Within that adenine diphosphate, this one single functional group of a phosphate get added over here, and that ADP again get converted into a ATP, that is adenine triphosphate. So since there are two molecules of a PAP which can generate two ATP molecules. So at last the step 1 and step 3 develops use 2 ATP, while within step 7 and 10 there is a addition of a 4 ATP, and net visible ATP produced are 2, means 2 are get utilized, 2 ATP molecules are get developed, and that's why the net visible ATPs are produced over there, that is only 2 molecules. So immediately after upon finishing glycolysis, the cell must continue respiration in either an aerobic or anaerobic direction. This choice is made based on circumstance of a particular cell. Aerobic respiration is the carried out in presence of oxygen. A cell that can perform aerobic respiration and which find itself in the presence of oxygen will continue on to the aerobic citric acid cycle in the mitochondria. But if the cell able to perform aerobic respiration is in situation where there is no oxygen, such as muscles under the extreme exertion, it will move into a type of anaerobic respiration called as homolytic fermentation. But some cells such as yeast are unable to carry out aerobic respiration and will automatically move into a type of anaerobic respiration that is called as a alcoholic fermentation. So this is all about the glycolysis, and I hope you get complete idea about the glycolysis. So thank you for watching my lecture.